Have you ever touched a woman exactly the way you thought she wanted, only to feel her slowly pull away emotionally right after? Have you ever been sitting beside a woman over 40, feeling the tension, feeling the connection, thinking this was finally the moment, and then somehow the energy died without you understanding why? You replay it later, every detail, the hug, the hand on her waist, the compliment, the kiss attempt that felt slightly off. And the worst part is not rejection, it's confusion. Because deep down, you know you're trying. You're giving effort, attention, respect, yet something invisible keeps slipping through your fingers. I'm here to tell you something important. This was never your fault. Nobody taught you this. I'm glad you're here, because this is Secret Mind Code, where we uncover the real psychology that creates desire. And today, you're going to understand something most men never learn about women over 40. Something subtle, emotional, deeply human. Because the first place she wants to be touched is almost never where most men think. And I'll warn you now, the final one is incredibly powerful. It can change everything fast, and almost no one uses it correctly. C. Younger attraction often reacts quickly to surface stimulation. Looks, excitement, novelty. But a woman over 40 has lived through patterns, disappointments, emotional exhaustion. She doesn't respond the same way anymore. Her brain filters men differently now. Not harsher, smarter. She subconsciously scans for emotional safety, grounded masculine energy, and intentional behavior before physical desire fully opens. Evolutionary psychology calls this emotional calibration. The brain constantly uses mental shortcuts to decide who feels safe, valuable, and emotionally attractive. And most men fail before touch even begins, because they touch with nervousness, approval seeking, hesitation, hidden desperation. She feels all of it, not consciously, instinctively. That's why today is not about tricks, not manipulation, real tools used with respect and intention. And the first trigger starts before your hand ever reaches her body. Masculine presence. This changes everything. A woman over 40 does not crave chaotic intensity anymore. She craves grounded energy, calm certainty, a man whose nervous system feels stable, a man who isn't trying to impress her every second. Because tension travels through touch. If your energy feels anxious, your touch feels anxious. Imagine sitting across from her at dinner. Most men rush, they overtalk, overexplain. They lean forward too much. They try to entertain constantly. But you stay relaxed, slower breathing, direct eye contact, comfortable pauses. When you finally touch her arm lightly during conversation, it feels natural instead of needy. That's the difference. She doesn't melt because of the touch. She melts because of the energy behind it. Grounded men feel rare. Now, here's where most men completely misunderstand women over 40. They assume physical attraction starts with obvious sexual zones. It doesn't. Not emotionally mature attraction. The first place many women over 40 truly want to be touched is emotionally, through attention, through understanding, through feeling seen, which leads to the second trigger, intentional listening. This is dangerously powerful because almost nobody does it anymore. A woman over 40 has spent decades around people who interrupt her, dismiss her, overlook details, or only listen while waiting to speak. So when a man remembers something small she mentioned 3 weeks ago, her brain notices immediately. Why? Because attention equals value. Suppose she casually mentioned loving old jazz music. Most men forget within minutes, but later you bring it up naturally. You mentioned that Miles Davis album before. I listened to it driving home. That moment hits deeper than flirting because now she feels emotionally touched, seen, registered. Oxytocin increases when people feel emotionally understood. That's not poetry, that's neuroscience. And suddenly your physical touch later feels completely different to her nervous system. The shoulder touch lands deeper. The hug lasts longer. The eye contact becomes softer because emotional touch came first. Always remember this. Women rarely open physically before they open emotionally. Now let's go deeper. The third trigger is emotional challenge. This one creates polarity, and polarity creates spark. A lot of men become overly agreeable around attractive women, especially women they admire. They avoid teasing, avoid playful tension, avoid disagreement. They become too safe emotionally. But attraction needs movement, not conflict. Movement. A woman over 40 does not want drama. She wants emotional stimulation. She wants to feel your personality has edges. Playfulness, confidence, perspective. Imagine she says, "I'm always right." Most men instantly validate her. But you smile slowly and say, "That sounds exactly like something a woman says right before losing an argument." Light tone, relaxed face, tiny grin. Now she laughs. Now there's polarity. Now her emotional brain wakes up. Dopamine rises when interactions feel dynamic and slightly unpredictable. That playful tension matters more than most men realize. The key is emotional steadiness, never aggressive, never defensive, just grounded challenge, soft strength. That's magnetic. And if this is making sense so far, hit subscribe and join Secret Mind Code community. It helps more men learn what they were never taught. Now let's talk about the mistake almost every man makes with physical touch itself. They escalate too fast. They treat touch like a goal instead of a conversation. But women over 40 often respond best to gradual physical touch. Slow, intentional, respectful. This is the fourth trigger. Gradual physical touch. Here's what most men don't understand. The nervous system needs emotional congruence. If your touch arrives faster than her emotional comfort level, attraction drops instantly. Not because she dislikes you, because her brain senses pressure, but gradual touch creates anticipation instead of resistance. Imagine walking beside her after dinner. You lightly guide her through a crowded doorway with a gentle touch on the upper back. Brief, calm, no lingering. Later during conversation, your knee touches hers naturally for a moment. You don't force it. You don't stare afterward waiting for approval. You stay present, comfortable, unshaken. That's powerful because relaxed touch communicates confidence better than aggressive touch ever will. And here's something fascinating about oxytocin. It increases not only from touch itself, but from trusted touch. Touch paired with emotional safety. That changes everything. Which brings us to something almost nobody talks about. Selective attention. The fifth trigger. This one separates desirable men from attention addicts. A woman over 40 has usually experienced men who become consumed too quickly. Constant texting, constant validation, constant availability. At first it feels flattering, then it feels heavy. Why? Because value drops when attention becomes desperate. Selective attention creates emotional balance. You have your own mission, your own routines, your own purpose. You genuinely enjoy her, but your entire identity does not revolve around gaining her approval. That emotional independence is deeply attractive. Suppose she texts you. You respond warmly, but you're not glued to your phone every minute. You disappear sometimes because you're busy building your life. Working out, creating, leading, living, not to manipulate her, because your life is actually full. Women sense the difference immediately. Scarcity changes perception. The brain assigns higher value to things that feel emotionally earned instead of constantly available. This is why grounded men feel addictive. Their attention feels intentional, not cheap. And now we arrive at something deeper than attraction itself. Calibrated vulnerability. The sixth trigger. Most men swing between extremes, either emotionally closed off or emotionally overwhelming. One gives nothing. The other dumps everything too fast. Neither creates attraction. Calibrated vulnerability means sharing something real without collapsing emotionally. Strength with openness. That combination feels incredibly safe to emotionally mature women. Imagine she asks about your past. Instead of giving a rehearsed, perfect answer, you say calmly, "There was a period of my life where I lost direction for a while. It forced me to rebuild myself differently." Simple, honest, no victim energy, no emotional begging. You're sharing truth without asking her to rescue you. That matters, because women over 40 are highly sensitive to emotional weight. They don't want perfection. They want emotional intelligence, and paradoxically, controlled vulnerability increases trust because it signals confidence. Hiding constantly communicates fear. Real strength is openness without weakness. That's rare. Now let's reveal the truth hidden inside the title of this video. The first place many women over 40 want to be touched is the back of the neck and upper back area. Not sexually, emotionally. Almost nobody understands why this matters. That area is psychologically connected to protection, tension release, and nervous system regulation. A slow, respectful touch there can instantly communicate grounded masculine presence when emotional trust already exists. But timing is everything. Most men touch mechanically. You must touch intentionally. Picture this. You're standing beside her during a quiet moment. Maybe after laughing together. Maybe during a pause filled with connection. Your hand gently touches the upper back near the neck for just a second while you guide her closer during conversation. Soft pressure, calm energy. No rush. Her nervous system feels it instantly. Because women don't experience touch only through skin. They experience it through emotional interpretation. The wrong energy feels invasive. The right energy feels magnetic. And now we reach the final trigger. The one almost no one uses correctly. Controlled unpredictability. This is where attraction becomes unforgettable. Human brains are wired for dopamine spikes through rewarding uncertainty. Not chaos, not inconsistency. Rewarding uncertainty. A woman over 40 does not want emotional instability. She wants emotional freshness. She wants to feel surprise inside safety. Most men become painfully predictable. Same compliments, same routines, same emotional rhythm, nothing new, nothing emotionally alive. But controlled unpredictability creates emotional excitement without destroying trust. Suppose she expects a normal dinner date. Instead, halfway through the evening, you take her somewhere quiet with a beautiful view she didn't expect. Or during a serious conversation, you suddenly shift into playful teasing at exactly the right moment. Or you disappear for a day because you're deeply focused on your own mission, then return with calm certainty instead of apology. That emotional variation matters because attraction needs emotional contrast. Dopamine responds to novelty mixed with reward. When a woman emotionally associates you with positive uncertainty, your presence becomes memorable. Not because you played games, because you created emotional texture. There's a difference. And this is why some men become unforgettable without being the best looking guy in the room. They understand emotional sequencing. First emotional safety, then polarity, then anticipation, then touch. then emotional contrast. Most men reverse the order completely, that's why they fail. Now listen carefully, because this next part might shift the way you see yourself forever. You were never lacking value. You were lacking the map. Nobody taught you that attraction is emotional architecture. Most men grow up believing women respond mainly to looks, money, or aggressive confidence. But emotionally mature women respond to something deeper. Presence, attunement, grounded energy, intentional behavior. And once you understand this, desperation disappears. Because you stop trying to force attraction. You start creating emotional experiences instead. That changes your posture, your eye contact, your timing, your voice, everything. And something else happens too. You stop fearing rejection so much, because rejection no longer feels like proof you're broken. It simply means emotional alignment wasn't there yet. That mindset shift alone changes how women perceive you. Confidence is not loud. It's emotional steadiness. Remember that. A woman over 40 is often not searching for perfection anymore. She's searching for relief. Relief from emotionally immature men, relief from pressure, relief from performance, relief from chaos. So when she encounters a man who feels calm, intentional, emotionally aware, and grounded in himself, her nervous system relaxes around him. And relaxed attraction becomes powerful attraction. This is why slowing down works. This is why listening works. This is why intentional touch works. Not because they are tricks, because they align with human psychology, real psychology. And I want you to notice something important. None of these triggers required manipulation. None required pretending to be someone else. None required fake alpha behavior or rehearsed lines. You don't need to dominate women. You need to understand them. Big difference. The men who create lasting attraction are usually not performing constantly. They're emotionally congruent. Their words match their energy. Their touch matches the moment. Their attention feels earned and intentional. That's rare now, which means mastering this quietly separates you from most men immediately. And here's the beautiful part. You can practice this starting today. Not someday. Today. The next conversation you have with a woman, slow down your breathing, listen longer, maintain eye contact 1 second more, stop rushing to impress, let silence breathe occasionally, touch more intentionally and less frequently. Bring grounded energy instead of nervous energy. Watch what changes. Because women over 40 are incredibly perceptive. They notice emotional details men overlook. They notice pressure. They notice emotional hunger. But they also notice calm masculinity, emotional intelligence, quiet confidence, more than you think. And the moment a woman feels emotionally safe, while still feeling emotional tension and polarity with you, attraction stops feeling forced. It starts feeling natural. That's the secret. Not performance. Alignment. You become the man she relaxes into emotionally instead of guarding herself against. That is powerful. And once you experience that kind of connection, you stop chasing shallow validation forever. Because now you understand something deeper. Real attraction is not built through intensity alone. It's built through emotional precision. Small moments, small signals, tiny calibrations most men never notice. The remembered detail, the calm pause, the playful tease, the respectful touch, the grounded presence. That's what creates chemistry. And now you finally understand why the first place many women over 40 want to be touched is not purely physical at all. It's emotional first, then physical, always in that order. The emotional brain opens the body. Never forget that. So stop thinking you need louder confidence. Stop thinking you need perfect looks. Stop thinking attraction belongs only to naturally charismatic men. It doesn't. You don't need perfection. You need strategy. You need awareness. You need emotional intelligence applied intentionally. That's it. Because the truth is, many women are starving for this level of emotional presence. Starving for a man who actually understands pacing, polarity, and emotional attunement instead of rushing toward outcomes. And once you learn these patterns, you stop feeling invisible. You stop over-pursuing. You stop second-guessing every interaction. You become calmer, sharper, more attractive without forcing it. That's the transformation. Not becoming fake, becoming aware. Use these tools with respect and intention. Build genuine connection. Create emotional safety without losing masculine polarity. Stay grounded in your own purpose while remaining emotionally present. That balance is rare, and rare men are remembered. If you're ready to stop chasing and start becoming the man women genuinely desire, subscribe to Secret Mind Code now. Turn on notifications because the next one will shift your reality again.